Oh boy, OCG Banlist fallout on the TCG. This is one of my favorite topics. This is where we get to speculate, one, about how far behind the TCG is, and overall banlist impact based on what just happened in the OCG. So, as many of you guys know, Norden and Mindmaster got the errata. Oh boy! So cool, so fun. Norden's errata, I mean, the funniest thing about Norden right now is the community's referring to it as Theseus at home. It's because, like, you're just going to use Super Poly to take two Cool Tune synchros and mash them together. Isn't that what we were doing with Theseus? You know, tuners, smash them together. The only payoff here is like Norden brings back something on summon. So, I mean, like, that's cool. You know, we got another Super Poly target. You know, once again, Super Poly remains undefeated in buff potential. I think the erratas on Norden were fine. I don't see an issue with that. Mindmaster, on the other hand, so I guess looking at Genesis format as a whole, a lot of people were kind of talking about, you know, Genesis format showed that Mindmaster was a little bit more, we're going to use the words, balanced. But realistically, it was not okay. The problem with a lot of these older cards was because they were not once per turn, you know, certified, as we're going to call them. You know, getting that stamp of approval. Yeah, that was a flaw in some of Konami's early design. I mean, certain cards are okay to get through not being once per turns. We've seen it, you know. But at this point in time, Mindmaster coming back, I think it might have actually ended up killing the card. I think Psychic players will still play it because, you know, it is a Lone Fire Blossom. But in terms of, you know, adaptability and power, Norden's the clear winner here. Now, I've talked a lot about the FTKs in a lot of the situations that have developed with those. I want to remind people that given the current TCG climate, as of filming this today, we don't have an ETA on when tunes are going to come out here. I suspect by the time that tunes come out that Konami will make preventative measures to cleaning up the tune situation that's kind of around it. I think that's going to be a pretty big topic of conversation is, you know, Ultimaya, Geonator, you know, we don't have the Starving Venom, but this might be a time for the TCG to actually look at putting Starving Venom to 1. You know, the Greedy Venom or whatever it is, the Supreme King version. By putting that version to 1, can we bring it back to 1? Or is 1 still a problem with some of the tools that can recycle these extra deck cards and actually allow you to go, oop, you know, 3 extra steps maybe to put it back into the extra deck to continue the FTK? You know, does that become viable? I'm not entirely sure. But it is definitely a discussion, not on an upcoming TCG ban list, but it is definitely something that within the next year we could see the actual application of this actually mattering and making all that much of a difference, you know, per se. So the FTK sector and tunes, first of all, I don't know how you managed to do it, Konami, but I never thought in my entire Yu-Gi-Oh career that tunes would be the deck that just breaks this game. It's not that tunes have necessarily broken it, but, like, I don't think I've ever seen one archetype be able to do this many FTKs. Not even Tier at 100% power was able to do this many FTKs. I was able to do massive OTKs and push-throughs on boards, yeah. And I mean, like, Tier was probably more powerful than tunes was. But the amount of FTKs present is challenging to me, and that's so crazy to think about, that this is what we're seeing right now in the current environment, is just this level of, you know, awesomeness. I don't know, man. The fact that, you know, all these people are putting tunes in, like, the top of the environment is truly just spectacular. I also do want to address something that this ban list didn't do with the Master Duel side of things. So right now, Rapier and Trident, I guess, are just... They're having a time in Duelist Cup. So I've not fully looked into this. I'm only going off of what I've read from, a few people. But evidently, since they have brought back Zoo cards into Master Duel, Rapier has just been an absolute destroyer of dreams. Which, by the way, good job, honestly. If Rapier is that much of a problem card, and the fact that, it's going this far in the metagame spectrum, and it's pushing boundaries this far, and it's causing people to be disgusted with it. It's crazy. I also thought realistically that the OCG, they would have approached bringing back more of these particular, I figured we would be getting Zeus support, because why else do you bring Rapier back? There's no real reason to make this change unless you're doing what we kind of suspect they do, and they use the different formats to test different ideas. If you're testing out Rapier and Zoo and, in the Duelist Cup to bring it back in actual physical paper, then, that would make sense. But a lot of us were kind of like, maybe we're getting Zoo support. I don't know. We've been on this Zoo's going to get support one day. Because, truth be told, card releases and pushes that Konami makes on the ban list are about 90% indicative of other changes and shifts that they're going to be willing to make within the game. There's usually a cycle that goes with these things. And the fact that, we're kind of seeing right now that Zoo didn't move, which I think kind of debunks Zodiac support coming in the future. I want to be wrong about that. I want Zoo support. I think, we need something else to make that deck a little bit more viable, but that's where we're at right now. But in terms of application and things right now, FTKs need to get cleaned up. The new FTK that's popping up right now is using the gimmick puppet that the Fantasia Machinex that goes on the opponent's field. He got banned in the TCG. He's becoming a problem right now in the OCG as an FTK, so we've preemptively hit the FTK before it happened, but things that we do have allowed over here, we have Geonator Transverser, and we have Bishbolkin. We do have Shadow Tune, shenanigans. We have Dark Eradicated Warlock. When a announcement for tunes, so realistically looking forward, your application is 6 months out from now when we eventually do get tunes, depending on how they toss it in at us. You probably will be seeing something come along those lines with Konami actually trying to patch up some futuristic things. But that being said, the next set is right around the corner for the OCG. Realistically, anything's really possible with what secrets can still lie in this upcoming set. Beyond the Brave does need to change up some things. World Premiere Pack is right around the corner. They're really trying to pad down the deck build archetypes to kind of get them in. But, you've unleashed tunes onto the world. This deck is suddenly, the next best thing since sliced bread in terms of, Yu-Gi-Oh! Innovation. So, that's that's something really, really interesting. But honestly, outside of that, I don't know. I'm not going to... The game is better today than it was yesterday for the fixing up of problems. There's still... To say that there's this many FTKs still running around, it was nice to look around for a while that we weren't really seeing all these problems, and then they just cracked through. I understand why OCG players were pretty upset with, tunes. It makes sense realistically, because, God, man, it's crazy. So what do you guys think about everything? What do you think we're going to be dealing with here in the future for this? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.